Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. I am the Crypto Crow, and today I'm going to be covering quite a few things that I think are going to be extremely valuable to you. I obviously haven't done a video in quite a while. I've been just kind of taking a little bit of a break from myself. I'm working on some of my some personal projects, things that actually kind of just take my mind out of the world a little bit and just focus on some positive things that I can control directly, and just staying busy. And I've received so many messages from so many of you, and I don't even really want to talk about that yet because I really don't want to get all welled up or anything. I really do want to cover a bunch of stuff, but just know that I see you. Even if I haven't read your message, I've seen that you've sent one. And at some point, I'm going to go through all of them. It's just, things are getting a little better. Things are looking up. I'm just getting busier. I have to keep my hands working. I have to keep my mind processing new things, learning new things, working on new projects. I'm building 3 different websites right now. I'm writing a book right now. I've got a bunch of different stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I just have to stay really busy and just try to keep my mind focused on positive things. And so we're going to go ahead and dive into some of these positive things right now. Looking at Bitcoin's price behind me, obviously we've reached and peaked out at about $70,000 and are currently getting a little bit of a pullback that I don't see really falling that far. I really don't. I'm really sad because before Fairdesk announced that it was closing along with Jumpex exchange, I was in a long from $60,000, and I should be riding this all the way up to the peak of the market. And a part of me almost kind of wonders if that's why they decided to close. I'm curious how many of us that were trading basically were going long, even long at lower leverage at around the $60,000 mark. And they were like, you know what, we can't deal with this, and so we're gonna have to close. I total conspiracy. I have no idea if that's true or not, but it just sounds like a bit of a coincidence. I'm kind of frustrated with that because now I'm back looking for an exchange partner and I'm missing all of this trade opportunity right now. And it's kind of frustrating. I mean, I had a Bitcoin basically that I was trading with, and I'm pretty mad about that. That's not why I've been upset lately. It is what it is. But anyway, I do see new highs coming for Bitcoin in the not so distant future. And we're going to be looking at Bitcoin dominance. Right now, Bitcoin dominance is at around 60%. And you can see that around the peak, all the way back here, like 2015, before the big altcoin markets, before all that stuff started, I mean, Bitcoin was it, right? And then you can see back here on November 17th, where basically Bitcoin peaked out, and then the Bitcoin dominance tanked into the altcoins. And we got significant pumps into the altcoin market, started rebuilding into the 2021 cycle. We really peaked out here locally on like September of 2019 before it came all the way back down. That's not a day. This is a weekly chart. So this was, August, September 2nd, all the way down to August 24th, September 7th. How is this working? Oh, because it's 19 and 20. That's the problem with these really tiny charts. But anyway, we basically bottomed out around August of 2022. We really kind of touched this 3-4 times roughly in terms of Bitcoin dominance bottom, and then we got some peaks and valleys and things. But currently we're back at around 60%. I think that we're getting kind of a diminishing state here in Bitcoin's dominance, as you can obviously see. Maybe it's not quite that. Maybe it's not quite that. We'll see. Basically the point being, though, I don't really see Bitcoin's dominance getting much past maybe 65% at best before we peak out. And I honestly think that we're going to start seeing some of that peak out happen in November. And I think we're going to see that for a multitude of reasons. And we're going to go over some of this stuff. And I've also got a video clip of this gentleman. This is VirtualBacon, who he thinks he's got it pegged as to exactly how he's going to be able to call the altcoin market. And we're going to watch this. This is a long video he did. I think it was about 45 minutes. And I've got like the last segment that I'm going to basically play for everybody because I think it's pretty good stuff. Thanks to a fan that sent this over to me through Telegram and said, hey, you might want to check this out. And in a way, it kind of correlates with what Benjamin Cowan has been saying for years. And honestly, I've said it myself multiple times going over things. So we're going to dive into that. But Cardano, this is something that I want to show. Basically, all the way back here, and there's some big Cardano news, obviously, that I'm sure you all know by now with Bitcoin OS. And this is going to be a big deal, but we're going to cover that a little bit here as well. But you can see down here in this chart below, this is Bitcoin's dominance. And you can see that from December 28th of 2020, Bitcoin's dominance took a spill all the way down here. I mean, Bitcoin's dominance fell 44% with some ebbs and flows, but ultimately fell all the way down 44% by like January of 2022. And what you'll see here is, given that state, you'll see that Cardano rose from around, let's see, what was the price here? This is around 17 cents. Okay, so around 17 cents, it had already come up a little bit, which is basically what we're seeing now with Cardano sitting in the 35 cent, 36, 34, 36 cent range. But once Bitcoin's dominance peaked and fell 44% over this time period, Cardano rose almost 2,000%. And if you look prior to that, what do you see? Stagnant price action, which is basically what we're seeing now. We're seeing a lot of stagnant. Now, the price action is a little different. These candles are a little bigger than they were in the past, but like this was the peak of, 2017. So, that peak doesn't look very big in either. But after that point, it was just basically sideways price action, very similar to what we're seeing now. And the only major mountains that we're seeing here in Cardano's price throughout this stagnation was when Bitcoin quickly shot up because of the ETF news and things of that nature. And not all assets shot up this way. Only some of the more significant projects in the crypto space really got this pump alongside Bitcoin as it rose up. So this is just basically to show what the power of Bitcoin's dominance dropping has on primary altcoin assets, such as Cardano. And I think we're going to see a very significant repeat of this yet again, especially more so now because recent news, I think, really changes the game for Cardano in ways that, it's absolutely blowing my mind. I sent Charles a message over and I said, hey, man, we should have you on and talk about this. But this is basically the gist of it. Ultimately and effectively, Cardano is becoming a layer 2 for Bitcoin. And this isn't instead of its primary role as a layer 1 blockchain, but this is an addition to. And what this effectively means is that everything that happens on Bitcoin as it relates to a lot of different assets can effectively flow through Cardano with its interoperability and its UTXO model and all of the things that it's been built on from the beginning. And now they basically become one in a sense, which is absolutely mind-boggling because this creates $1.3 trillion in liquidity for Cardano effectively. And a lot of people are going to be able to use different apps and things on Bitcoin and not even know that they're doing it on the Cardano blockchain. In addition to that, this basically makes midnight. You have to excuse me. I'm still coming. I'm getting off kind of a cold still. I've had a little weird bug for a couple weeks. But this effectively makes midnight a layer 2, like a privacy layer for Bitcoin. A privacy layer for Bitcoin on the Cardano blockchain. Folks, I never saw this coming. Charles didn't even see this coming. I watched a video where Charles said, I didn't even know they were building this. I didn't even know this was happening. And now he's all excited because he's going to be diving back into Bitcoin and making a lot of changes and things. And I thought it was the nerdiest thing I've ever heard somebody say, where he basically said something to the effect of, I'm going to get a group back together. We're going to dive back into Bitcoin's code and catch up and have a read party. I'm like, What does a billionaire nerd do in his spare time? Well, he has a code reading party, ladies and gentlemen. That's basically the extent of that's how you can really rate somebody's interest in coding and everything else. I couldn't even imagine doing that. I think my eyes would bleed personally. But the breakthrough technology of Bitcoin OS gives Bitcoin eyes and a brain, enabling it to see and understand activity on other chains. As the first alternative layer 1 network to plug into Bitcoin, Cardano is now front and center to absorb Bitcoin's ocean of dormant capital and users, likely boosting the network's adoption to unprecedented heights. Folks, I'm just going to tell you, this changes my Cardano price prediction for 2025 quite a bit. And I don't necessarily know yet because there's not enough data in yet for me to rework it. I've been hanging on an $8 Cardano by the here's what could effectively happen. I've been really hung up on potentially an $8 Cardano in 2025's peak. But the reality of that, it could have stopped at 550 or something. I think if anything, this solidifies my $8 Cardano price prediction with the potential to be much, much higher. $1.3 trillion liquidity, access to Cardano. Come on, folks. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are in the space. I don't care what projects you hold. This puts Cardano on another level entirely. And this whole article that was basically written on X is really, really solid. If you want to go check it out, there's some video clips of people talking, but I just kind of wanted to highlight some of the bullet points and drive your interest to it. As of October 2024, Bitcoin is a $1.3 trillion network. 50%, 57%, it's actually higher now. It's about 60%. Of the entire crypto market and over 100x the current value of ADA. Cardano brings the owners of that capital trustless, secure access to the financial services that they want. Among the network's 1,300 plus other projects, users can try dexes like Sunday Swap to trade their Bitcoin for fiat and other assets, or use Liquid for decentralized lending and borrowing. I mean, I said in a Twitter post that I don't even know if Charles really fully understands. I mean, this is not like to say that Charles doesn't understand. I'm just thinking to myself, the ramifications of this are so astronomical when it comes to the crypto space that I'm sure Charles hasn't even contemplated all of it yet. And it's mind blowing. This is still mind blowing to me. I really don't think even the crypto space fully understands what this all means right now. The first true crypto operating system, it allows Bitcoin, the world's most powerful and permanent computer network, to become a ZK zero knowledge powered general computing system. This is insane. People are talking about this all over, but I still don't think I don't think it's resonated enough yet. Grail will give Bitcoin users the first trustless solution for moving Bitcoin into Cardano's smart contract environment. I'm sorry. Unlike all previous solutions, the bridge requires no trust in third parties to function and remain secure when moving assets to and from each chain. This is so much bigger than just a bridge, folks. A bridge is a part of it, but this is full blown interoperability. I mean, this is going to enable people to do so many things. And, here's the thing, as I was just showing you Bitcoin's dominance, right? And I'm showing you Bitcoin's dominance as it relates to Cardano's price. How much will this all affect the flow into into Cardano directly? Because if the two are kind of ultimately, if they become married and to a large extent, then what does that mean? If a $2,000 or 2,000% price increase of Cardano took place before Cardano was even finished, we didn't even have smart contracts on Cardano yet when this happened, folks. And, a lot of people they love to talk trash about, Cardano's price isn't moving. It hasn't been moving. Well, it didn't here either. And it's been moving a lot more this cycle than it was the previous cycle. We had a 2,000% increase and we were dealing with all of the same narratives. The only difference then was well, Cardano isn't moving. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't have this. It doesn't have that. And there's so many other projects that are better and doing things more. And yeah, sure now, but what do we know now? What we know now is that not only is Cardano pretty much finished, we're in the Voltaire era. The consensus systems, the D-reps, all that. By the way, I have like almost 20 million ADA delegated to me as a D-rep. Thank you guys so much. Every time I check it, it goes up by another 2 million. That's blowing my mind as well. I take that very, very seriously. I haven't even delegated my own private Cardano to myself yet. I really haven't. And there, there's other assets. I haven't delegated to myself because I want it to be very fair. I don't want to do anything that anybody would look at as being, I don't know. I'm sure I can. I'm sure it's not a big deal, but it's like, I'm not doing it. I'm realistic. I don't even need to do it. I'm in the top 10 of D-reps, of all the D-reps out there. So thank you guys very, very much. And I know that there are going to be more of you. And I definitely promise to do you guys right and just try to do the right thing. I mean, you guys know how I roll. But anyway, so the question at this point then is what happens with Cardano in the future? Now, I found this recently by Decode. And he's like, I always get plenty of hate for posting bullish ADA charts, but that just makes me like it even more. And I make no apology for that whatsoever. Do your own research. But his intermediate price target is $5 with the same $16 main target. Now, last week I would have saw this and I would have said, nah, maybe $8. And that's basically where I've been hanging my hat for years now, is about $8. And I consider $8 kind of a short-term target. What happens in 2030 is probably going to be mind-boggling, because if we're just now getting this relationship with Bitcoin as an interoperable chain that's going to be offering a privacy layer to Bitcoin, for God's sakes, people, do you have any idea how big this is? This is nuts. And the thing of it is all of these things are planning to be basically dropping between now and the peak of the market. Can you say parabolic? I'm just curious if that's in your vocabulary. Can you say parabolic? I can. Parabolic. Parabolic freaking run. Cardano is very likely going to go on a parabolic run. And I think we're finally going to start seeing the fruits of everything that has been developed over this long period of time, this long and extended but brutal development cycle that Cardano's been working through, trying to build things the right way from the beginning. Anybody that knows me and anybody that's ever worked with me in any industry for any reason knows that my biggest pet peeve is having to work backwards, is not doing things properly the first time, or doing things for somebody else and then them going back and saying, well, I'm not sure about that. I don't like that. I want to change this. I want to do that. And then I have to work backwards. That is my biggest pet peeve. When I do things, I would rather do things, and I'm doing it right now. I've done this right now. I'm working on a very special project that nobody's going to know about that I'm doing it. It's just something for me and something for like the world, and nobody's going to know that I'm even doing it. It's something that's just giving me peace of mind. And but I've restarted elements of it 3 times now because I want to do it right the first time. And when I put it out there and it's out there and it's doing its thing, I want it to be right. And so that is one. And I think that there are a lot of people out there that feel the same way about their work ethic and what they try and accomplish. They don't want to work backwards either. It's a waste of time, money, resources. So all of these projects that are struggling and they want to just be first to market and they throw a bunch of shit to the wall expecting to fix it all later, we're seeing that that's not working out for them long term. And when you're trying to build something like Cardano, where, they're meeting with Argentina and they're meeting with Dubai and they're doing all of these different things to try and bring all of these use cases to the chain, you have to be able to stand tall and say, we've never crashed. We've never gone down. We haven't been hacked. We're the most secure. We're the most decentralized. We have to be able to make these claims and mean it, and not say, well, someday we're going to be all of these things if we can just get this, and that figured out, and then we're going to be able to take your whatever it is to the next level. Screw all that. That's not what Cardano's about, and it's not how it's been built. And that it's okay if it takes a little bit longer for these things to come to fruition, as long as they're done right the first time. Because in a world of finance, in a world of blockchain that is supposed to be built on a decentralized system of trustless protocols, you can't build trust if you're just constantly throwing shit to the wall to be greedily first to market and then try and capitalize on that long term and accomplish anything of any great value. You're just not going to. So anyway, his targets, and he shows these targets in his chart. I mean, he's showing as high as, right here, his 1.618 Fibonacci line and a fifth. He's working with Elliott Waves here. I mean, he's basically showing a price target of up to like $14.50, maybe a blow off top to $16. And, hey, more power to him. I'll be happy with 8. I'll be happy with 8. If Cardano reaches a point of $8, I am going to be able to really do everything that I've ever wanted to do with my life. And that's a fact. So, we'll see. So now, and this is Bitcoin OS. This is their website. You can see it right here, Cardano and Emergo. And, a lot of people have been criticized, including myself, let's be honest, criticized Emergo. Like, what exactly do they do? Because it's been difficult to see the fruits of that labor. But now we're seeing it. We're starting to see some of this stuff happen. And the fact of the matter is these things do take time. Unless you're just trying to be like a meme coin ecosystem that doesn't mean or really accomplish anything at all. A lot of these major global use cases take time to establish, build, develop. I told Charles, I'm like, I want to have you on. I want to talk about this Bitcoin OS. I want to talk about everything that happened in Argentina. And he's like, yes. He's like, just give me a little bit of time on that. And I'm like, absolutely. Whatever you need. So the next time I have Charles on this channel is probably going to be quite groundbreaking. I'm hoping for some alpha. I'm hoping for him to make some announcements during that conversation that nobody's heard yet. I'm really, really hoping for that. And I really think that it's probably going to be the case. I always try to not abuse my relationship with Charles. I really do try to respect his time and everything that he is. I don't try to hound him. I just try to leave him alone. And, every once in a while he'll send me something. Every once in a while I'll send him something. And, I feel like our relationship has been getting better. And I'm grateful for that. And I, when he says, hey, yeah, let's do this, but just give me some time. It's like, okay, you take all the time you need, brother. I'm here when you need me. Iagon also, I do want to show this real quick. I think I shared it. These Iagon miners this is the design for mine. This is going to be the Crypto Crow edition of the Iagon Cyclone miner. And I cannot wait for these to launch, folks. I'm telling you, no, you can't order them yet. I've been trying. I'm like, when can I get this daggone thing? And, I love it. I designed the art for this myself. I used Midjourney, of course. I love my Midjourney. And but you can see it's like a big crow, and he's kind of feeding other crows off of a pile of coins. Or that's feeding other crows. I was thinking feeding coins to crows. But anyway, it's just beautiful, man. I cannot wait to have it right there on my bookshelf, just purring away, doing its thing. You're going to be able to do so much stuff with these. I cannot wait till they go on sale. But as I understand it, we have months to go. So, the wait is going to suck. All right, so now this is VirtualBacon, who I like this guy. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's a Solana bull as well, but we can't all be perfect. But he does seem to be very much about the numbers and about he's like, he's kind of like Benjamin Cowan in a way, I'd say. But he looks at a lot of other things as well. He doesn't just look at the charts, as this video is going to show. He looks at a lot of really cool information. So I'm going to play this for a little bit. This video might go on for another 8 minutes or so. We're about 36 minutes in. Once he gets to the point, because he goes into a lot of supporting information. So if you're into this and you think he's onto something, go back, watch his entire video. I forgot to like it. I'm sorry, VirtualBacon. But anyway, he covers some really good information. So we're just going to sit here and we're going to watch this real quick, and then I'll give you my thoughts.
Am I saying you should buy altcoins right now? No. Until the next FOMC, at least in November, Bitcoin dominance can continue to trend up, because the Fed can only make pivots during FOMCs. So that means from now until at least November 6th, the Fed will continue to sell, something like this, right? For this balance sheet to go down, and conversely, Bitcoin dominance should continue to go up, at least for like 2 more weeks. If they make this pivot and comes out and says something like conclude the reduction of our balance sheet in November, that means the Federal Reserve balance sheet will bottom out like this, start to go sideways. And then Bitcoin dominance likely makes double top like this. I'm drawing these very, very zoomed in. Just bear with me here because this is very macro. And right after that, the meeting right after that is usually when they will announce that they will start buying assets again. And when they do that, the Federal Reserve balance sheet starts to take up, Bitcoin dominance starts to go down, and this triggers the clear signal, the early signal that altcoin season starts. And you can quite confidently invest in altcoins again, because that gives us a scenario just like September 2019, where it was basically 2 years of bull run. So that's it. That's all you need to follow. That.
So yeah, basically the charts he's looking at is the market cap for Bitcoin, and then Wall CL Federal Reserve. And, basically this is similar to things that Benjamin Cowan and I have talked about in the past, where we're basically saying, listen, there's the whole quantitative easing, quantitative tightening, and all of that. And there's all of that related to the cycle. But this is basically him talking about when they start actually buying assets once again. Once they've pivoted and they said, okay, we're going to start accumulating assets again, that's when Bitcoin's dominance starts to drop. And that's when the altcoin market really starts to take off. And that's when we can expect to likely start seeing some upswells in the Cardano price and many others. A lot of this stuff is more dictated by the Federal Reserve and what happens in the United States than a lot of people want to lead on. Obviously, we've had, when BlackRock launches its ETF and everybody's like, yay, and then we started having a bit of a rally into the news, or the rumor, right? Everybody preparing for what is likely to come. Once BlackRock's name was dropped, everybody knew it was a done deal. It was just a matter of when. So people started to buy into that. And then once it was announced, then we got some really significant rallies before it peaked out. Everybody thought that was going to be the catalyst for the run. But the fact of the matter is that that's not how things work. So, yeah, it sounds great, but ultimately that's not how things work. And so people expected that to be the big parabolic run, but the timing of the cycle still plays a role. And I think, if anything, that demonstrated exactly that these 4-year cycles, they've been playing out pretty accurately and effectively every 4 years like clockwork. And I think a lot of that is played out based off of a lot of different things, such as the miners, how much the miners accumulate over a period of time, the tax cycle. Every year you have the tax cycle. People are accumulating and they're preparing and handling all of the taxation that's associated with mining crypto, buying and selling crypto, all of that. So we get these little dips as people sell profits to pay their tax bills. We have so many different things that correlate in order to effectively change the way these market cycles operate. But there are also a lot of things that happen that because like this pump, getting an all-time high before the halving was a really big deal. So there were a lot of things that played into that taking place, but it doesn't change the overall ebb and flow of the market cycles in general, especially as these assets continue to gain adoption and gain ground. And so, I think this is going to be one of the biggest market cycles for Cardano, hands down. And I think that because of this news, I anticipate seeing more Cardano nodes. The number of decentralization continue to rise as more Cardano nodes go into effect. I think that we're going to start seeing a lot more activity on the Cardano blockchain. I think this is going to drive, even if it's secret, even if it's private, even if a lot of these Bitcoin maxis don't say anything, they're still going to be diving a little bit deeper and likely to start accumulating more Cardano, because it's a fool's errand not to at this point, in my opinion. Now, I'm not trying to give financial advice. My disclaimer's down here below. It's never left the screen in any video I've done in forever. And, the reality is that I think that when you've got an asset that's currently trading at 34 cents with such big news and such a big effort coming into play. Now, granted, Midnight hasn't launched yet. That's coming very soon. I really want to get the CEO of Midnight on here at some point too, because I really want to have a really big conversation about Midnight. I need to figure out how to reach him. Maybe I'll ask Charles. I don't want to bug him about that though. I need to figure out how, maybe tag him for me or something and say, hey, can you reach out to Crow? Because I'm not sure how to get a hold of him. And I would love to have him on. I'd love to have him on this week or next. Really, I want to get the real alpha of what's going on with Midnight. When are we launching this? When does this come into play? And then ultimately, I need to get some of these guys that are building this. I need to get them on here. Why did they pick Cardano? Is it just because of the ETUXO model? Is that why they're basically built this system, or is there more to it? Is it about the security? I would love to get it from their mouth. So expect some of that. If I can make it happen, I'm definitely going to. And listen, I don't know if I'm going to do more videos this week, but this is a big one that I wanted to really address and point out to people and hope that it helps inspire you guys and let you guys know, listen, we are on the right path. We are doing what needs to be done. Do not take into account some of these centralized assets that are being artificially pumped and poked and prodded all over the place to appear to be something that they're just freaking not. This is what it really looks like when you're building quality assets in a blockchain space. These are the kinds of partnerships and relationships that really matter and really help with adoption long term for the long haul, not just whatever's going to be the flash in the pan today or tomorrow and likely go away and dissipate in favor of the next big fake pump bullshit. Like, it is what it is, but and ultimately, there is a place for everything in the crypto space. This isn't a zero-sum game. I definitely just wish that some of these other projects would start using some better tactics and some more honest tactics. But you know what? When there's that much money at stake, honesty tends to go out the window in all but very few people. And I it is what it is. But in any case, until next time, guys, crow your coins. Go pick up a Cardano shirt, will ya? I haven't sold a Cardano shirt in quite a while. So check it out. Make sure you join my Substack. I've been a little empty on there, but I'm going to start posting again here very soon. And that's it for now. Crow your coins, and I'll see you again very soon. Thank you for all your support. I love you.